Let's get into the surprise hit of 1994. Let's do it. Hey, welcome back to my channel. And the movie we're going to discuss today was a surprise hit of the summer of 1994. This movie came out June 10th of 1994, and the film we're going to talk about is Speed. This movie was definitely a huge hit that summer. It was a $30 million budget, and upon release that summer, it did $121 million in the US and $350 worldwide. It's rated R, it's an hour and 54 minutes long. This movie was definitely a surprise hit. Fox didn't have a ton of faith in it because at the time, Keanu Reeves wasn't a huge star yet. Yes, he had Point Break in '91, he had the Bill and Ted movies, but leading up to this film, he did Bram Stoker's Dracula, but you could say that he wasn't the star of that film, obviously. So he hadn't really had a huge hit leading up to this. After Point Break and Bram Stoker's Dracula, he did a few movies that weren't huge hits. But this movie turned that around, and obviously went on to do The Matrix, the John Wick film. So, you know. Also notable about this film is the movie's directed by Jan de Bont, and this was his first major theatrical first film. He had been a director of photography. He had done Die Hard and a ton of other films before this, but this was his first theatrical film. And in this movie, we have Keanu Reeves as Jack. He is a SWAT team member. We also have Sandra Bullock as Annie. We have Joe Morton as Captain McMahon. And we have the great Jeff Daniels as Harry. He's Keanu Reeves' partner in this film. And we have the great Dennis Hopper as Howard Payne, our main villain of the movie. And basically this movie, as it starts right from the beginning. It shows this hostage situation in this building. There's these people trapped in an elevator. And we're introduced to Howard Payne, played by Dennis Hopper, and he has these people wired to blow the brakes on the elevator and sending it flying to their death if he doesn't get the money he's asking for from the police. And Harry, Jeff Daniels' character, and Keanu Reeves' character go, and Keanu Reeves' character has this idea of there's a crane on the roof to attach the crane to the elevator to save the hostages. So that way they take him out of the equation. If he blows the charges, then the elevator does not plummet to their deaths. So they do that. Dennis Hopper hears them, blows the brakes. Elevator goes down. They happen to get everybody off of the elevator. And this is successfully. And they end up realizing that he's still in the building in the freight elevator. So they go and they go after him. Unfortunately, he takes Harry hostage. Keanu gets Harry away from him. He escapes and he blows up and everybody thinks he's dead. And they get in a combination. That's how Speed starts. Right out the gate, there's an action sequence. Well, a suspenseful sequence in this building, in this elevator. And it's months later. We don't know how much time in the future, but they get medals and ads on TV. And we realize Dennis Hopper's character is still alive. And one morning, Jack's going to this coffee place for coffee that he does every morning. And he has a conversation with the guy serving the coffee and his bus driver. Bus driver gets back on his bus, it's empty, and he goes to drive away, and Jack's walking to his car, and the bus explodes in a big fireball, and then the payphone starts ringing. Keanu Reeves' character gets on the phone, and it's Dennis Hopper's character telling Jack about this bus, that when it hits 55 miles an hour, it's going to trigger the device, the explosive that he has the bus rigged with, and if it ever goes below that, the bus is going to explode, and it's filled with people. So that starts, this movie does not stop. It just keeps going with the suspense and the action set pieces. So obviously Jack takes off, gets to the bus, gets on it, and that's where we spend the majority of our film. And this movie is very well constructed. We get the very intense scene at the beginning, setting up the bad guy, Jack, Harry, the police department, Joe Morton's character. And we get to meet Annie when she gets on the bus, Sandra Bullock's character, as she gets on the bus, and we realize that she had lost her license for too many speeding tickets, so now she has to take the bus to work. And she knows the bus driver very well. They've gotten to know each other and some of the passengers on the bus. So they have like their own little nice close-knit unit on their bus. And there's a couple of people that are new on their bus that normally not there. We have a sightseer from out of town. We have some other people on the bus. And once Jack gets on it, the back and forth between him and Dennis Hopper's character is, Dennis Hopper is great in this film. He plays a great bad guy. He's not your typical bad guy. Yes, he's crazy, but he's also smart as hell. And they're trying to track him down, and they realize, because they've seen him and he was missing a finger, that Jeff Daniels' character thinks that he may have been an ex-police officer. That's how they find out who he is. They find out that he has a house in Los Angeles, and they go there, and this is when Harry dies, because he had the house rigged and he knew they were there, and he blows it up and Harry dies. And this pisses off Jack, And finally, we get the bus to the airport. We had the famous jump scene on the freeway, which is pretty cool. Which actually, there was a bridge there. They digitally removed the bridge for that jump. And Jan de Bont came up with that on the spot. Like, he was driving to work and saw a gap in the freeway, and that's when he came up to it. It was not in the original script. The director had come up with that on the spot, and they did it. And it's a great sequence, even though you know it's crazy. A bus would never make that jump, but it's still very cool and very suspenseful. And then when they get to the airport, and they outsmart Dennis Hopper's character, and the bus blows up, all the passengers get brought off. Jack saves the day. Him and Annie just glide on this board to safety as the bus goes into a plane and blows in a wonderful explosion. And you would think the movie would end there, but we didn't get Dennis Hopper's character yet. So we get the final scene where Dennis Hopper's character wants more money, and he didn't know the bus blew up, so they're trying to sting him, and they put the money in this garbage can where he wants it, and he takes Annie hostage and the money, and we got our final confrontation on the subway, and Keanu Reeves' character kills Dennis Hopper in a gruesome fashion, and we get our subway crash wonderfully, spectacularly, and that's the end of the film. Jack and Annie kiss, that's the end of the film, and that is Speed. This movie is very well constructed. Jan de Bont did a fantastic job directing this film. Every scene matters, except for the ending. It's probably my one negative of the film. The ending on the subway feels tacked on. Yes, I realize there has to be resolution with Dennis Hopper's character because they didn't get it yet, but it does feel tacked on. Once the bus explodes and everybody's off safely, that should have been the end of the film. I have no qualms with the ending. I go along with it because by that point I'm invested in the characters. I like Keanu Reeves' character. I like Sandra Bullock's character. I'm even invested in the bad guy because Dennis Hopper is brilliant in this film. So the ending doesn't bother me, but it does feel tacked on. So I can see why some people might have a problem with the ending. But overall, it's a fantastic action film, and Jan de Bont did a great job with this film. After this, he wanted to do Twister. And then his career after that, even though Twister was a huge hit, kind of took a dive after that because he did The Haunting, which was a terrible film. And then he went on to do Tomb Raider, and he hasn't really directed a film since. But he did a hell of a job with this one. So other than that, let me see. Oh, by the way, Rennie Harlin and Quentin Tarantino were offered to direct this film before Jan de Bont took the job. So that's kind of interesting what they may have done with this, although Rennie Harlin probably didn't do it because he just came off with Die Hard 2 and it's too similar to that. People do accuse this of being a Die Hard clone, but I think it's its own movie, and it's a very fun movie, and Keanu Reeves is great. He did 90% of his own stunts in this film, which we've come to expect with Keanu Reeves, but this was back before he really did a lot of action pictures besides Point Break. What would I give Speed? I think it's one of our great action films. I think it's definitely one of the best action films of the 90s. I would give Speed a 9 out of 10. I think it's that good. It's a great action film. It's well acted, directed, great production design. Just a fabulous film, and I just love it. Now the sequel, Speed 2 Cruise Control, dumpster fire. If you've never seen it, avoid it. No wonder Keanu Reeves didn't come back for it because the movie sucks, believe me. And they got Willem Dafoe to play the bad guy, and Willem Dafoe is awesome, but God, that movie's a dumpster fire. But anyway, yes, 9 out of 10 for Speed. Have you seen Speed? What are your thoughts on it? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. Have a great night. Take care of each other, and I'll see you soon. Bye.